Welcome back to Folk Solo Sports Show. All right, let's get into week NFL week 11 of 17. First up, we had the Seahawks Thursday night football beating the Cardinals. The Seahawks looking good again, beating a good team. Seahawks go to 7-3, making Cardinals fall to 6-4, giving the Cardinals a bad loss because they just came off a good win against the Buffalo Bills with that crazy DeAndre Hopkins catch. So it's a bad loss because after what they just pulled to on that win, but it's not as bad because they lost to a good team. If they would have lost to a bad team, I'm pretty sure they would feel a lot less. They feel a lot worse about that loss. All right. Then we had my one and only. You see the hoodie all the way back from uh 2009 or something crazy right here. The one and only Pittsburgh Steelers, man. They don't even make this hoodie no more. You can go check around for it, man. Grandma bought this for me long time ago, right before the year before they played the Green Bay Packers in the Super Bowl. Yeah. Thank you, Grandma, for that. All right. We had the Steelers beating the Jaguars, though. I was wrong. My prediction was the Jaguars was going to beat the Steelers, even though the Steelers were 9-0. I thought the Steelers were going to lose because if you look at the Jaguars versus Steelers history all the way back from 1995 when the Jaguars came into the NFL, the Steelers have a losing record to them, and they beat us only 2 seasons ago in the playoffs, twice in 1 year, one time in the playoffs. 2 seasons ago, they beat us twice in 1 year, once in the playoffs. And the last time we beat them was back in 2014. So I did think they would lose that game, but they absolutely obliterated the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars only scored a field goal, and it was 27-3. And I like what I'm seeing from the Steelers, and this is what they could have been doing for a couple years now, other than last season when Ben got hurt. This is how the Steelers need to start playing when they're playing teams that aren't seen as good as them all the time. The Steelers are known for losing to the worst teams in the NFL when they're doing good. And this is a good sign that they are not doing that. Now, they did just have a rough game with the Dallas Cowboys. They did just come off that rough game with the Dallas Cowboys, which isn't that good of a team. But other than that, they just played the Bengals, crushed them 36-10, not seen as a good team, and now beating a Jacksonville Jaguars 27-3. So you're gonna have that one game that's probably close to a team that's not seen is that good. But it should not be they shouldn't have had close games to the Dallas Cowboys, Bengals, and the Jaguars all in a row. And I really feel like the Mike Tomlin, the new coaching staff, and all the new players are, definitely cleaning up right there. So, 10-0 now, about to play the Baltimore Ravens tomorrow, Thursday night football. Let's go. Uh, Important game of the year for the Steelers to show that they really are Super Bowl contenders, and important for the Ravens to show that they're still in it and they can still get to the playoffs, and they're not letting the Cleveland Browns become the second best team in the AFC North, which it looks like right now, because right now, and so after so many years, the Cleveland Browns are in second place in the AFC North. But that probably won't last for long if you want me to be honest. I did say Cleveland can move up to that point, but I don't think it will all happen in a matter of 2 or 3 seasons. I think that will take about 10 years for the Browns to move to second place, okay? So then we had the Lions getting crushed on by the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers break their losing streak, 5-game losing streak they were on, I believe. They are now 4-7, can still make the playoffs, but it doesn't look likely. They'll probably go back into a losing streak, to be honest. And the Lions are going in the same boat after both of these teams were 3-3 and had very good playoff looks compared to the other teams that are going 1-9 and 2-7. They were looking good they were looking good weeks ago. Both of these teams were 3-3. Now Lions are 4-6 and Panthers are 4-7. And now the playoffs isn't, too big of a hope for either team anymore, I'm pretty sure. Okay? We had the Texans breaking the Patriots win streak. The Patriots just beat the New York Jets and then turned right around and beat the Baltimore Ravens. All right? Now the Patriots playoff hopes looking dead now. They can still win the last 6 games in a row. I thought they might have went and won every game they had after, they lost to the Buffalo Bills. I thought they could have won every game after that, but it didn't happen, and they lose to the Houston Texans, who are now 3-7 and starting to look better in the second half of the season. And Patriots are once again on a losing streak, 0-1. They're 4-6. Texans 3-7. All right, we had the Titans beating the Ravens, and this is why that game on Thursday is key for the Ravens to win. They got to win this game because they are now 6-4 against the Tennessee Titans, who shut them out by 6 points, 30-24. Shut them down, not out. They didn't shut them out. They shut them down, 30-24, getting that win. And the Titans still looking like a playoff team. Even though they have only, they have a negative record still after losing to the Steelers, starting 5-0. They're 2-3 after losing to the Steelers. But I think now their season turns around. I think now after they beat the Ravens, who they beat last season, they have better mindset again after taking that first loss to the Steelers. And I see the Titans still going about 12-4 or 13-3, and the Ravens must win this game against the Steelers this Thursday, which I don't think they will. I think they will fall to 6-5. I think the defense is going to have Steelers defense is just going to go crazy on Lamar Jackson. He's going to throw 3 interceptions, and it's just not going to be a good day for the Ravens. And they go 6-5. Now, here's the thing though about the Ravens: they lose this game to the Steelers, they win all the rest of their games. I say they win all the rest of their games if they lose this game to the Steelers. But if they beat the Steelers, they will lose one more game to the Cleveland Browns. They will lose their second game to the Cleveland Browns if they beat the Steelers on Thursday. So yeah, now Ravens are 6-4 and Titans go to 7-3. All right. Then we had the Cleveland Browns continuing their good season. The Cleveland Browns aren't slowing up. I love it. And congratulations to the Browns. I don't think people realize how big this is, except Cleveland fans. I think Cleveland fans at this point are the only people besides me who realize how big this is. The Cleveland Browns are 7-3 this season. This is big for the Cleveland Browns after all these seasons of being the losers of the NFL, of being the New York Jets right now for so many years. I don't think people realize how big this is. 7-3, and they only lost to the only team that beat the Kansas City Chiefs, which is the Las Vegas Raiders, and they lost to the two teams who are known to be better than them in their division in the Kansas, sorry, in the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC North. The only three teams they lost to. So that's a very good look for the Cleveland Browns, just beating the Philadelphia Eagles 22-17. Eagles now go to 3-3, 6-1, and the Browns are 7-3. Carson Wentz, 2 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions. And there was a debate a couple weeks ago because Brett Favre says he thinks that the Eagles should have kept Nick Foles over Carson Wentz. And a lot of other analysts went crazy saying that was a ridiculous take. It was not a ridiculous take. Even though Carson Wentz may be a better quarterback than Nick Foles is, Nick Foles obviously fit better with the Philadelphia Eagles than Carson Wentz does. He came in, nobody thought he would do it, won the Super Bowl, and Carson Wentz comes back and has not been on that level ever since then when he left and Nick Foles took his place. Nick Foles would have gained. Now, he's not the same because he's on another team. But if Nick Foles takes that starting position over Carson Wentz and he's already with all the same guys that he was playing with, Brett Favre is right. His confidence goes up and he's winning more games than Carson Wentz is right now in Philadelphia, and the Eagles have a way better outlook on the season than this. So Brett Favre was right. I totally agree. Nick Foles should have became the starting quarterback for the Eagles over Carson Wentz, and that's just that. Carson Wentz didn't like it. Maybe asked to go somewhere else if he didn't want to be second string. All right, but we had Baker Mayfield, no interceptions, but no touchdowns either. 12 of 22 out of his passes, 204 yards. So he got over 200 yards, but he had no touchdowns. Now, a lot of people will try to criticize that and say he had no touchdowns, but he also had no interceptions. So he just did his thing basically all night. I don't even care that he didn't have no touchdowns. That's looking pretty good to me. Now, if he would have had no touchdowns and an interception, that would have looked bad. But Baker Mayfield is doing his thing out there. You got to give him his props. You got to give him his props for, just flowing through that game there and keeping the Browns on a winning streak. And then you had Nick Chubb's getting 114 yards. Getting 114 yards in that game, doing his thing, doing very good. So the Browns still continuing their reign, man. Congrats to the Browns on that, man. I feel good for the Browns. I really do. All right. Then we had the Saints beating the Falcons. Saints aren't letting up. They're 8-2. One of my Super Bowl picks. Falcons still just looking like the same team after they lost the Super Bowl, 3-7. Now they are still getting wins, but it's just not the same there in Atlanta anymore. Matt Ryan, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. 2 interceptions. That is terrible. That's just terrible. And I know it's the Saints. I know it's the Saints. Okay, they're a very good team. To all my Falcons fans, it's the Saints. Okay, but there's just gotta. I feel they need to just. I forget what other broadcaster said it, but they need to just wipe the whole Atlanta locker room, whole coaching staff out, and just get new people. Because whoever is still there from the devastating Super Bowl loss against the Patriots is the reason that they can't pick it back up. All right, Falcons 3-7, Saints 8-2. All right. Then we got the Washington football team making the Bengals season just get worse. The Bengals fall to 2-7-1 after losing 20-9, and the Washington football team celebrating their third win of the season after starting off 1-0, not so good though. And for all y'all who didn't see my video about the Washington football team and the name that they need to get, they need to come up with a better name. I just can't feel like the team feels good about calling ourselves the Washington football team. You got to come out there with a name, baby. You got to come out there representing a real name, buddy. You got like even the Bengals, okay? Like the Tiger, they're a tiger. You got to go watch my video on the name suggestions for Washington football team. They need to change that name immediately, or they're just going to stay. The team's going to stay terrible. That might sound crazy, but I'm telling you, the name has a lot to do with it. The Washington football team is the same as if they had a name like if they had a name the Washington Flowers. How are you going to get hype being called the Washington Flowers? It's the same thing. Like you just don't got a name. You're the Washington Come on, man. All right, 3-7. Bengals 2-7-1. All right, then we had the Jets. What are we going to do with the Jets? We got the Steelers, and the Steelers are what the Jets see when they look in the mirror. They're everything that they think they can be. When they look in the mirror, that's what the Jets are. They're the Steelers because the Steelers are the only undefeated team, and the Jets are the only team that didn't win a game yet, going 0-10. Hopefully, they can pull the game through and they don't become the Cleveland Browns of 4 or 5 seasons ago or whenever it was, going 0-16. But I can't see that not happening because they lose to the 2-7, not a good team. The 2-7, they were 2-7 Chargers, making them 3-7. They had another opportunity to beat a mediocre team, and they failed again, only by 6 points, losing to the LA Chargers. Not even the LA Rams. They lost to the LA Chargers, and the Jets season just continues to get worse. Okay? We had the Dolphins taking their first loss in weeks. I don't understand it. Okay? To the Broncos, 4-6. The Broncos now looking like if they turn their season around, they can get back into the playoffs. The Broncos are on and off every week. Every week, on and off. We had Tua throwing 1 touchdown, but I believe something happened there. I can't remember what happened as far as Tua, but then Fitzpatrick came in, stunk the place up, 1 interception, no touchdowns, and the Dolphins back in the hole, now at 6-4, still one of the better teams. Out of the 16 teams in the AFC, still one of the better teams in the top 8. They're in the top 8 right now still, probably at 7th or 8th. But the Broncos beat them, get the victory 20-13. Then we had the Cowboys with the upset against the Vikings, as Skip Bayless likes to call it. He was probably jumping and dancing around because the Cowboys get this win, breaking the Minnesota Vikings winning streak. They're now 4-6. It looks like they could have turned it around. They were on their way to 5-5, but the Cowboys just played harder. Andy Dalton getting one interception, but tripling up with 3 touchdowns, 22 of 32 on his passes, out of 32 on his passes, 203 yards. And then on the other side, we had Cousins having an even better game than Andy Dalton and getting 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and they still couldn't pull through to go 5-5 and make their season 500. And now they have to try to win 6 games it is in a row to look like they'll be in the playoffs. I don't think they're getting in going 9-7, so they must win all 6 of their last games. And the Cowboys messed that up for them. The Cowboys are just trying to mess everybody's season up. It seems like they know they're not going to go to the playoffs. Well, they still can, which is the crazy part, because the NFC East is just terrible at this point. So they still can go to the playoffs, but I don't like they're messing up everybody's hopes. They tried to mess up the Steelers' hopes, but it didn't work, of not being undefeated, but that didn't work. And now they're coming into place, beating the Vikings, taking them off their winning streak, and lessening their playoff chances. Okay, so we had the Cowboys taking that win. Cowboys playing good football in these last couple weeks. Then we had the Packers losing to the Colts in that crazy game that came down to a field goal. I got to watch that whole entire game basically, and it was a very good game. But everybody talked about Phillip Rivers having a good game, which he did. He threw for 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, the same as Aaron Rodgers, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. But nobody is talking about how Aaron Rodgers, who Stephen A. likes to call a bad man, Shannon Sharp likes to call, MVP. Nobody's talking about those bad passes he threw. Not the interception, not the one on the interception, but there was one where the running back was running to the sideline and he overthrew the running back instead of just giving it a soft touch to where it fell right into his hands. And the other one was on the right side of the field where he underthrew and the receiver didn't have time to come back and get it. Nobody's talking about those passes. I will talk about those passes. And this is why Aaron Rodgers, to me, is not on the status everybody say. He's a very good quarterback, but he is not on the status that people make him. No, it's not because he beat my Steelers in the Super Bowl. I do hate him for that, but it is not that. But people never talk about the inaccurate passes that Aaron Rodgers throws. They only talk about everything that he throws, and they never say about how the receiver had to do some crazy adjustment to get the ball. And I'll talk about that. And he had 2 of those plays if you go back and watch that game. Okay? So both of those teams, Packers and Colts, are 7-3. And then we had the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Raiders, getting their revenge on the Raiders from weeks ago. And Chiefs 9-1. And Stephen A. changed his top 5 teams for the week. He picked the Steelers over the Chiefs for the number 1 team. And I'm here to tell you, maybe he did it just because he picked the Chiefs first, mostly every week, and the Steelers second. But I'm here to tell you, the Chiefs are still better than the Steelers. They're still better than the Steelers, still got the confidence, still Super Bowl champions. And even though they have 1 loss that the Steelers don't, they are still the better team. I'll tell you that right now, okay? They're 9-1, sending the Raiders to 6-4, winning 35-31 in a duel. And the Chiefs, now he was right. Stephen A was right about saying that they are one Steelers or a Kansas City Chiefs win away from the Super Bowl. He was right about that, but the Chiefs are still the better team, okay? So the Raiders are 6-4 now, still can go to the playoffs, looking like one of the better teams still. Then last but not least, we had the LA Rams beating Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. We had the boy Goff going 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, still pulling off the win. Going 39 out of 51 in passes with 376 yards. So he had a bad game, but he did more good than he did bad, and he did better than Tom Brady because he threw for one more touchdown that made the game difference. Tom Brady, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 216 yards, which looks good besides the 2 interceptions, okay? He got over 200, so that looks good. But this is the terrible part about what Tom Brady did in the game. He only went 26 out of 48 passes. Terrible percentage right there. You got Goff over here only missing 12 of his passes, only not completing 12 of his passes. And you got Brady over here not completing 22 of his passes. That is a terrible look for the Buccaneers. They lost, then they beat the Panthers. Now they lose again, and all their losses seem that they're coming more from Brady than they are from any other person on the team. 22 incomplete passes, bad look, and I do agree with Rob Parker saying that Tom Brady is a sore loser, and people say, "Oh, he doesn't know. He has to shake people's hand." You didn't mind going shaking Goff's hand when you beat him in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, but now he just beats you in a regular season game, run off the field, can't even shake his hand. And people are crazy for trying to say, "Oh, well, LeBron did it. He left when there was 10 seconds left off the clock." Okay, LeBron did that, but it wasn't, I believe that wasn't the NBA Finals when he did that. So you can't even compare that to Brady doing that. Brady done that all 3 Super Bowls he loses, and he does it in regular season games. Okay? LeBron, even if LeBron did do it, it wasn't the last game that decided the whole entire series. When LeBron did it, there was still more games to go. I can see y'all making a complaint if he did that when it was the last game and he didn't shake anybody's hand. But it wasn't that. Brady does this. Of course, there's only one game in football, and Brady does that every time he loses. LeBron out there, if it's just one game, and it's the championship, there has not been a championship finals game that LeBron has not shook hands with Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Tim Duncan, my man from Dallas, Dirk Nowitzki. There hasn't been a finals deciding game, game 7, or whatever game it was, where he just walked off the court and didn't shake anybody's hand. So stop trying to compare that to Brady leaving the field. It's not the same, okay? This is Folk Solo Sports Show. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, subscribe. I'll get back with y'all. Peace.